Alright guys, so this is a quick insert into the beginning of the video to kind of let you guys know that I've decided to break up the Throne of Glass video into 2 parts because it's already very long and I still have the last 3 books in the series to finish, and those are the biggest ones I think out of the whole thing. So for this part, we are going to be going through Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Queen of Shadows, and Hair of Fire. So we'll do the first 5. You'll see my discussion of it. You'll see me introduce it all over again. I didn't plan on doing it this way, but it's going to be how we have to do it now because I am feeling like it's just taking very long, and it is, but we're going to figure it out. So if you want to see it, I don't remember if I said it was going to be spoiler free or not. The next part probably will tell you, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. Here is the first 5 books in the Throne of Glass series based on my stuff and reading it. So, have fun. Alright guys, it is time for another vlog. And this time it's going to be a bit of a doozy. I asked in my last video, and even if no one replied, I'm going to do it anyways, because why not? But I asked if I should do a video of me reading the Throne of Glass. And I don't know if that got heard, but Throne of Glass series. I have all of them here except Kingdom of Ash, but we're going to get that. My green light. But I'm going to get that one soon, hopefully. But technically, let's talk about reading order. This is what shows online. Shows Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Hair of Fire, Queen of Shadows. Of course, Empire of Storm, and Tower of Dawn are tandem reads, which will be the first time I do that. But I have already read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, and I'm currently almost done with Assassin's Blade. So I'll be reading the second half of Throne of Glass, technically. So let me put these down real quick, and then we'll continue talking. So, as I said, I've already read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, and I'm currently reading Assassin's Blade. So I am reading it out of order 100%. And that might trigger some people. Might also be the fact that for most of those books, they were the paperback, newer cover versions, I guess you would say, versus the older, I think, indie covers, which were the last 2. But that's just what the libraries had, okay? And majority of these I got from the library. So, the thing is that let's start with Throne of Glass. I believe I gave this one a 4 stars back, I think it was like February of 2024. That's how long ago I read it. But I didn't like it as much. But I was giving a high rating because it was still kind of interesting, still good. But I probably would have knocked it down a little bit. Not much, probably a little bit. I will say Crown of Midnight, I recently finished like a month or 2 ago. So that one is fresh in the mind. That one I liked a lot more. Had a lot more interesting stuff. It was easy to jump back into after not reading any Throne of Glass for a year and a half. So I give it points for that, for the interesting plots and twists and stuff. So there's that. I will say right now, I am on the last of the 5 stories in Assassin's Blade. Didn't like it as much. I can tell you that already. The last one, I already have a feeling where it's going based on what I'm reading. Don't like it. Maybe it would have changed, or maybe I would have not read the series anymore if I read Assassin's Blade and then Throne of Glass, because they are just not kicking it for me in that sense. But Crown of Midnight definitely was good and interesting, and I want to see where things go from here. So, like I said, I'm going to do an update with that. I'll give you my final ratings, of course, for Assassin's Blade, and then we'll just start new with which one is it again? Hair of Fire, I think it was. That's the fourth one. And I've heard that Hair of Fire or Queen of Shadows, one of those, is like the good book from this series. Like, it's the best. The fact that it's like the third or fourth book, no, fourth or fifth book in the series, excuse me, is kind of crazy because it should not take that long for a book to be like that emotional gripping if it's like 7, 8 books long. So we will see how this goes, and I will let you guys know when I finish Assassin's Blade and move on to Hair of Fire. So, bye. Alright, guys, I have finished Assassin's Blade, and let's just say it took me so long to finish this because I just did not care. This made me have flashbacks to when I read Throne of Glass, to where it was interesting, but not that much. And this again has 5 stories in it, and I only like 2. So, yeah, I think it, like I said, it had good information to give you background about how she is the way she is, in a sense, but it was also just a bunch of bullcrap that I just didn't care about. But, you know, it's done, it's over. It's time to move on to the next one, which is Hair of Fire, I believe. But I'm going to take a break because, like I said, this one took me 2 weeks to read. And there was days where I just didn't want to read, and I tried reading something else, but knowing I would have to come back to this, I did not want to read. So I gave this, I think, 3.5 because, again, there was a couple stories that were good. Again, it helps build up for the rest of the series, but I just didn't like it as much. So, like I said, I will let you guys know when I start reading Hair of Fire and how I think of that one. I think it's either that one or Queen of Shadows that it starts to get really good. So let's hope it does because I don't want to be disappointed. So we'll see. All right. So I thought today, if I'm going to do a thing with the whole Throne of Glass series, that even though I finished reading Assassin's Blade, that I have to go back and talk about the 2 I read before Assassin's Blade, which is Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. So I'm not going to give a lot of detail, mostly because even though the Crown of Midnight I read a couple months ago, I don't remember a lot. Like, I remember key points, but details. Don't look for me for details on books because I will forget. I am not one who will remember key details and be like, hey, I remember reading about that. Not going to happen. But Throne of Glass, this one is the one that I started, and I started it and finished back in February of 2024. So almost close to 2 years ago is how long ago I read this. And all I remember about this is that Selena was in Endovier, which is a slave camp. She was causing trouble, getting into trouble, trying to escape, do all this stuff basically. And then she gets called to go and talk to Prince Dorian. And basically he gives her the proposition of, hey, I want you to come and compete in this contest to be the king's assassin. And she's like, not happy about it. She hates the king. She hates the kingdom and the glass castle. She does not like it because he basically massacred and got rid of all the people who were magical and all that to basically make himself powerful. But she agrees because there's the prospect of freedom, and she's big on wanting to get her freedom. So she agrees. She goes to the castle, cleans up, gets to eat, gets told, hey, don't let anyone know that you're Ardlin's greatest assassin. Don't say that. You're going to pretend to be this. We're going to train you. We're going to get this. But kind of don't make yourself the biggest target. Play coy, play smart. So she does that. She goes with it. She's in this contest. There's a bunch of other people who are trying to be the assassin for the king from stuff. They have these different competitions and stuff that's going on, and then all of a sudden contestants are starting to get murdered, and like brutally murdered, and they don't know why, they don't know by what, but it's happening. So she's trying to figure out that while trying to survive, while basically like learning how to interact with people again, because she's been at the mines for a long time and stuff. And it was interesting. Like I said, it was pretty good, basic, just nothing wow to me. That's why I think I gave this one a 4-star. Probably stick with it. It's just, it wasn't spectacular. Now, with Crown of Midnight, this one I read a couple months ago, so I think roughly about August or so. Again, don't know a lot of details. My mind, I read it, remember what's important, and then other stuff goes whoosh right out my brain. But this one picks up kind of where that one ends. She did win the contest. She is the king's assassin. This one, she's having to do missions for the king, which is to go and kill people that he says and bring proof. Now, the thing is she's doing it to where he thinks that she's killing them, but really she's giving them the opportunity to know, hey, the king's coming after you for whatever reason. Give me like your rings that's so like obvious, and then she'll go and get like a hand or something that's, or a head that's like part of his, like looks like the person she was going after, and say, hey, it's decayed, hey, they put up a fight, hey, blah blah blah. But then there's someone she has to go after that she actually knows from her past, and she's like, why is he trying to go after this person? So she's learning some of that. She starts to form a relationship with Cole. I don't know how his name is pronounced. I don't like his name. It's weird. But she gets a relationship with him. She has her friend, whose name I can't remember, but she's like a princess, I think, of LiQWYD, I think is how it's pronounced. Again, fantasy world, the names are so weird, and I butcher them, and I say them how I say them. So do know that. But her friend is trying to get her to do something, and she's like, I just want to get this done and be free. That's all she wants. But then her friend, something happens to her, and basically her whole world turns upside down and stuff. And the book ends with the Kale guy. Their relationship between each other is done, over with, the neat goodbye. And basically he makes a plan to tell the king, like, hey, you should send her to go here and do this. And he's like, you know what? That's smart. Let's do it. And she basically lets him know that, like, hey, we may have been, intimate, but you don't know me. And gives him hints on, like, hey, look up. And so he learns some stuff, and it's interesting. This one, I think, too, I gave a 4. Again, I think the problem is that there's just so much that's happening that's, like, confusing. And the fact that she's only 19 is also still a little weird. But, yeah. So, like I said, these ones, I own these 2. I own none of the others. They're all from the library. But I figured we'd give a brief synopsis of what I remember from reading of these and what's going on before we jump into Hairfire, which is the 3rd or 4th book, depending on where you put Assassin's Blade. And that way you guys can know what's going on with that. I probably will start it here soon, and then we'll keep chugging along from there. Okay, bye. Alright guys, we are officially now on to Hair of Fire. This is 3rd or 4th book. Again, I don't know. Assassin's Blade I don't feel like should be included. It just was not good. But I am currently, what page? 76 out of 500 something. Chapter 11. So far, there's a lot of characters who I remember. Mind you, again, that this book has been out for a while. I know some of the people who end up being important, and they got introduced already. So there is that. There's some stuff, again, that I'm interested in certain things, and other parts I just don't care. Again. So Selena is over across sea at some other place where her cousins, I think it is, are. but she wants to go talk to the specific one who's like the queen of the Fae to get answers about word keys and stuff and their power and where the last one might be. And she goes and she gets told she'll get all her answers once she completes a bunch of training that is monitored by Rowan, who is one of the ones who is an important character. We have Manon, who I always know people talked about her being an important character, but I didn't know who she was really. I met her and I said, did not assume that she would be that. So that's interesting. And then, of course, we go back to Kale and Dorian. Dorian is dealing with his own stuff because he did have a discovery from the last book that he's trying to keep under wraps. Kale is dealing with what he knows of Dorian, the fact that he sent Selena away, what he knows about her, and then again, just doing his job and trying to keep the king happy and safe and away from Dorian and Selena. So that is all I have so far. Nothing major. Like I said, only like not even a third of the way through this, or a fourth. So I will let you guys know more as I progress, and we'll see how this one goes. Bye. Alright guys, real quick, because I don't even know where I was when I last updated you guys, but it was in the beginning. And we're getting almost closer to the end of Hair of Fire. And I don't really have much to add because I don't even remember what I said. But all I know is that I do know I mentioned that there was some key players that, like I said, I knew about beforehand that have appeared. And like I said, there's some things in this book where I'm like, I really want to know more about this. I don't care about these. Like the stuff about Kale and Dorian, I know it's going to be important probably later down the road, but right now I just don't care. I don't. Dorian has a new love interest and is still dealing with some stuff, trying to keep himself safe. Kale, he's trying to figure things out, but then like someone pointed out, like it's so hard to know where his loyalty lies. And someone said you need to pick. Are you part of this or are you part of this? Like you have to decide. And then like it doesn't, I don't know. Like Kale annoys me to no end. Like I liked him a little bit in Crown of Midnight, not a lot, but now I'm pissed off with him. He's annoying. Okay. My son's over here kicking the floor apparently. Happy, excited, so. But the one stuff that I do like is, like I said, I care mostly about Selena or what she's doing and training and stuff like that. That's what I care about. Manon, hers is kind of interesting, but also I kind of just, like, we're still learning about her, so it's kind of still like, I don't know. But like I said, Dorian and Kale, I don't give an F at all. They're boring. I look to see how long their chapter is before I can get to the stuff that I want to read. So there's that. I am currently on chapter 46, page 397. So we're almost at 400. And is this 500 or is it 400? 500. So we're almost done with this one. And like I said, I don't know if I want to jump right in after this one into the next one yet. We will see what it's about or what happens to maybe decide. A lot of it too is just so much training for everyone or information gathering. And like not a whole lot of like suspense or action or like, hey, here's something that we got to figure out. Not a lot. There is one where you're trying to figure out stuff in regards to like future and stuff and what might happen the last 150 pages or so. So there is that. But for now, I'm not bored. Like I don't hate it. I do want to pick it up and see what happens, but I'm not like loving it. So there is that. But okay, I will let you guys know afterwards what's going on. Bye. Alright guys, it's been a while. And if you can't tell by the way I sound and the way I look, I am currently sick and dealing with it. Most of my household is sick except for my oldest daughter. She's the lucky one to not get sick. But I did want to get on here to let you guys know that I finished Hair Fire. I finished it a few days ago. I don't know exactly when. But I did finish it and I was going to record it. But then my husband got sick and I was taking care of him. And then I was going to wait and stuff when the kids went back to school. But then my middle got sick and then I got sick and then my youngest is sick. So everything just said no. But I will say that I gave this one 4 stars. It's pretty good, pretty interesting. Like I said, the multiple POVs in a way is still something that kind of bugged me because again, I still cared more about certain people's like stories more than the others. Like I said, I didn't care for Kale and Dorian's as much, which is funny because of what happens at the end. It's crazy, especially for Dorian. I feel bad for him. But I will say that like I find it interesting with what Selena, I don't remember. People say Selena, but I keep calling her Selena because it just seems right. I don't know. This might be jumbled too, so sorry. But I do like her part where she's fighting and learning her powers and controlling her powers and stuff. And there's one part where she goes and she's fighting this army that got sent to where she was like training at. And like these creatures are from a different, like I guess you would say dimension in a sense. And they're like going through her memories of like the trauma and stuff. I did like that and the part where she actually broke free and stuff. So that was pretty interesting. But like I said, it was good, not great. I'm still kind of like the fact that it is like 7 books of going through this. In one way, I'm like, I get it. I get the building up and the like anticipation and like, oh, what's gonna happen and stuff. But in another way, I'm like, can we just get on with it? So I don't know. I'm impatient apparently. So there's that. But like I said, right now I am currently reading other books and I don't know when I will get to Queen of Shadow, but I will let you guys know when I get to it, when I post next. I don't know if it'll be in this year, 2025, or it'll be next year. We'll see. It'll be a surprise for both of us. But I will let you guys know. And yeah, we'll talk about it then. Bye. Alright guys, so before I get into this, let me tell you a story real quick. It's close to the end of the year. I was roughly 20 pages or 20 books away from hitting my reading goal. I thought, nope, I'm not gonna hit it, right? And then I got sick. My whole family mostly got sick, except for my oldest. And then I was reading, and I was roughly finishing a book a day. And I was so confident and like, yes, maybe I can hit my reading goal. I'm doing great. And then I told my oldest, who loves to help me pick out books, I said, hey, why don't you help me pick out my next book? I'm doing great. I'm reading a book a day, roughly, right? So she decides to give me this. And I'm not going to finish this in a day, especially not when I'm trying to update you guys on it. So I am now reading this plus multiple other books to still try to hit my book a day kind of goal. So let's talk. I am on page 88. I'm apparently in the middle of chapter 10. Like I said, I am in between reading multiple books to still kind of try to see if I can hit my reading goal. This one is a big one. This is the one I believe everyone says is the best in the series and will make people upset. Now, my thing is I can't really say much without spoiling some stuff, so I'm going to try my best. But it starts pretty much right off the ending of Hair of Fire, where Selena, however you want to pronounce it, she's going to go back to Rifthold, I think is what it's called, or the kingdom, basically. She's going to go back and stuff now that she has controlled her powers from her Fae line, right? She's going to go back, find the word keys, I think they're called, or whatever, try to find them. She has an idea of where one is, but she has to go there. Cole is fighting against the king with the rebels and stuff. There's a bunch of people getting murdered and executed, basically anyone that has powers. Dorian is dealing with what happened at the end of last book, but also some other stuff where, again, I don't want to spoil it 100%. So that's interesting. Rowan is not in this book, which is so disappointing because I want him in this book. Manon, I think is how people pronounce her name. She is the wing leader and she is trying to help, I guess, with the king and stuff with their beast, but they're not really doing anything and stuff. And so it's slow going right now. Again, we're almost 100 pages in. This is like 600, almost 700, I think. 645. So this is 645 pages. So I'm only at almost 100 pages, which is not even that much of a dent, obviously. So we will keep trucking, and I will let you guys know. Again, this is not going to get finished probably. I'm hoping I can finish it before the end of the year so it can be added, but I'm just saying the whole series as a whole is going to get moved into the next year. That's for sure. But we're getting closer because we only have, I think, 3 books after this. But one of them is like 1,000 pages almost, if I remember correctly. Kingdom of Ash is like 1,000 pages. But I do have the other 2, which I know you have to do buddy reading or tandem reading, I guess is what it's called. And that's going to be a new thing for me. So we will see. But we're getting along with this one first. So I will let you guys know how this goes as it goes. But yes, we are reading Queen of Shadows before the end of 2025, hopefully. So see you with more updates. Alright, so it is the day after Christmas, and the last couple days I haven't read. And I want to make sure I update before I get too much farther because I'm like close to halfway. And I tend to like to go in chunks apparently, so I'll be almost done and then I'll probably update you guys again and then I'll be done and I'll update again. So right now I am on chapter 31, page 264, I think it is. Yeah. Right now, there's some stuff that's going on. Selena is back in town. Like I said before, she went there. She talked to Kale. Hate his name is that. She talked to him, got updates on what's going on and all that. Is kind of going through, trying to figure things out, all that. The most recent update is that Rowan came and found her, so she has him back. There's some stuff that she's still trying to figure out of what to do, which is kind of like, it's slow a little bit. Like, it has some interesting stuff going on, but it's also really slow and kind of annoying and all that. I will say, the first couple books I read, I liked Cole. He was okay. These last couple books, I hate him. He's annoying. He's a crybaby. He can't figure out what he wants to do. His main priority is just so, like, one point focused that he's, like, ignoring all this other stuff. And it's so annoying. It's pissing me off. Manon, I don't like her chapters right now. And it sucks because I think the next 2 are hers. And I don't really care for her. Like, I get her a little bit. She's a little different than the other ones, but it's also just like, I just don't care. Like, it's so annoying, and it's like, oh. And then Dorian's chapters are few and far, and like in a way it's hard to see the light for him. I'm trying not to give away spoilers, but it's hard because we're in the 4th book now, and this is the one, like I said, that everyone says is so good, like tearjerker, like best one of the like lineup. But this one, like I said, it's interesting, but also so slow because I'm like, we know what is supposed to be happening, but it's like building up, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm ready for like everything to be over. And the thing is that we're close because, again, there's only 3 books after this. There's Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and then Kingdom of Ash. But all of those together is still like a whole lot more words to pages and things happening. So it's difficult. But like I said, it's getting there. It's getting some more interesting. But I'm not gonna lie, I just don't really care. Like, I get people loving this, but I just don't right now. I just don't. Like, it's interesting, it's fun, but I just don't like have it as like high up there right now. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe the ending will change my mind. Like I said, we're roughly halfway. This is 500 some odd pages, I believe, or 600. No, 600. 645 pages. So we're almost halfway. But like I said, it's just dragging on for me. So we will see as it goes. But yeah, I'll let you know when I get a little closer to the end, or if I get to the end, how it goes. So yeah. Alright, we're going to try this again. I didn't realize the last time I was talking, my mic was not working. And I was like, something's not right. So, I finished Queen of Shadows. I was trying to kind of go a little bit closer to like 100 pages near the end to give you an update, but things picked up. I will say I have to change a little bit of what I said earlier. I think where I was like not feeling it. I think definitely this is the one that, like everyone has said, like changes things so much. But I think the fact that it takes like 4 or 5 books to get into it, like really into it, is not how it should be. But I think the reason this one also gets so much more love is because of the fact that the magic comes back. Magic got taken away by the king. Now it suddenly comes back at the end. And so I think that's the part where it makes it better and stuff. And like I said, the problem too is just with some of the high fantasies, I think for me, I don't think I can stand it as much because of the fact that the build-up is just so long and sometimes so boring and so hard to get into. So the ending of this was a lot better. There's still some stuff that I'm like, okay. There were some parts where it was emotional and like tear jerkers almost, like trying to get you to cry. And yeah, it's interesting. And I like the part where like I thought this was going to be like almost the end, and then I'm like, well, if this is the end, why are there 3 more books kind of thing with what was going on? So it's interesting in that sense because you realize the truth, and then it's kind of interesting that like, oh, why? So, but I don't know what exactly I would give this. It's either like a 5-star or it's like a 4.5. I'm torn because again, the beginning of it is just kind of so drawn out, so long, so that it's like I don't know if I would want to give it 5 stars because I don't know, but like the ending is really interesting and good and stuff, so I'm not sure. But I did finish this one. This will be the last update on this before the new year. Then starting in 2026, I will probably do the tandem read between Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. And then the last one is Kingdom of Ash, which is big. But for now, this is it for this year of 2025. We finish off with Queen of Shadows. Like I said, this one so far would probably be my favorite out of the whole series with everything that's going on. So there is that. But I will let you guys know what happens in the next ones in the next year. And I will see you guys then. Bye. Alright guys, I don't have my mic on or anything for this, but I just went through to edit all of the parts for the Throne of Glass Part 1 video and realized that I need to put an outro. So, if you watched this far, thank you for watching it, and if you want to watch again, I will post, hopefully soon, the Part 2 where I will read Tower of Dawn, Empire of Storms, and Kingdom of Ash, and hopefully then it won't take as long. It took apparently a really long time to get through the first 5 books, but hopefully these last 3 won't be as long. And again, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, make sure you like and subscribe and comment and tell me your thoughts, what you like, didn't like so far from the first 5 books. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.